you don't purchase used cars and you purchase TVs, well, then you have a pay raise. It's very like it's
nice. So it's less of a raise. It's more of a mindset.
Yeah. If you're buying the right things, it's a huge
Everything's
raise.
a raise.
Yeah.
Dude, that timing is gonna be crazy.
It felt good.
Because we are live.
We're live. Moose has a new Tito's sweatshirt, I'm just noticing.
Dude, you just noticed. I was waiting. Yeah. It's kind of sick, right?
It is pretty sweet. Is that custom ordered for?
No. It was from the bottle of Tito's that we finished making these drinks. And on that note, a very drippy, they're wet, so cheers.
Dude, I once was dating a girl, and I gave her mother a bottle of wine with
how chivalrous of you.
With a little like waiter's necktie thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, haha, like nothing crazy. Killed that, like it was like they had never seen something that incredible.
I thought it was like a bad.
No, it was such an overreaction. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like huge.
You show up next time, it's got two ties on. You're like, ah. That's like, I don't know. Not that it's common to see glassware wearing.
That's pretty
attire, but yeah,
wine bottle
you're never like knee slapping like, holy shit, is that wine bottle wearing a tuxedo tie? No way. I did though really enjoy that the Tito's bottle was wearing a little Tito sweatshirt. Like that's kind of cool.
It is
because it's a Tito. Like I've never seen a Tito's sweatshirt before.
It's a shame it's stuffed animal sized and not
true.
If you didn't have the small moose,
dude,
you'd be like you just have a small Tito
also
sweater.
It doesn't have arms, so like. If you were to put anything in this, it would be trapped in this chill ass position of.
Oh,
like,
it has no.
Yeah.
It's a straitjacket.
So essentially, with feet. I guess straitjackets have feet. Yeah, it's just a straitjacket.
Yeah. No, there's just the jacket part. Yeah.
Well, why? I mean, I guess they want you to walk around, just not hurt yourself.
Yeah, well, they got to be able. They don't want to carry you places. I think is more of their thought process.
Yeah, but don't they just toss you in a room anyway, like a fucking squishy little room?
Yeah, it's so you don't hurt yourself. And
so
it's like way harder. I guess you could knee yourself in the face. Depends on how.
Exactly. So like, why not just do the straight bodysuit and then you could line them up?
Because I feel like if you do anything more than cut off their arms, you're just making them even crazier. Like you're like, you know what'll straighten you out is if we make you immobile.
We turn you into a worm.
Yeah, we turn you into a worm in a white room for a week. That'll cure you.
With a bunch of other worms.
Yeah.
You guys can bite each other. No, you get yeah, no, this is getting worse. Definitely. What? I was going to say muzzle them up so they can't bite each other and just let them.
Yeah.
But now.
Dude, if you really want them to, if they're like so dedicated to hurting themselves where they're like biting their own lip, you can't stop them. It's impossible.
It's true.
Like they'll just do it.
They're just going to do it.
But it's usually like they're pulling out their hair. And
yeah.
So
and I mean like.
Their arms away.
You can't really seriously hurt yourself if you don't have control of your arms.
Well, if I had my legs, I could knee myself in the face pretty hard.
But you would eventually like knock yourself out before you did any real damage.
What the knocking myself out would be the damage.
Sure,
that is the real damage.
I guess like I don't know. I feel like you can seriously hurt yourself if you have your thumbs in play. Like you can't grab like a knife.
Sure, obviously.
Like,
if you're trying to hurt yourself, thumbs are so useful.
So helpful. We should change the topic. I'm like, how do you want to hurt yourself?
Now I'm thinking about how like. The crazy people go there and then they're locked in a solid white room.
No, it definitely doesn't help.
Like that has to make it. It's exactly what they were scared was going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's like the exact thing, and they're like, "I was right."
No, I mean, I've been in a psych ward before visiting someone, and it was definitely like, it felt like their worst nightmare. It was like they take all your shit, they give you a bunch of pills and they tell you to like chill out and you're like, well, this is what I was worried about.
Yeah, they put you in the white room and once a week they pull you out to taser your mind. Like that's there.
Dude, UConn used to have like an insane asylum that is since now just an abandoned campus, but we would go there and there were some sketchy rooms, like wheelchair strapped boards across the lines. Like when we were there, dude, we were there late. It was, I don't know if it was part of the UConn's time, but there was, I'm not kidding, a cat pinned to a board, like clearly, it looked like an execution sacrifice style.
Wait, where? Where is it?
In the UConn, they were like abandoned buildings on like a farm.
Oh, and you just found this abandoned building.
It was part of the old UConn campus, which had like a mental hospital section, basically. And since now it's all abandoned, and it's like farm abandoned, so there's no one really claiming these buildings. And yeah, we would just basically just break into these buildings, but there was not much. And I'm not kidding. There was a dead cat strapped to the table in like experiment style. We ran the fuck out of
Yeah,
there.
well, was it like it still had flesh? It wasn't just bones.
Yeah, so like
it was
clearly
new. Someone had
exactly. And it kind of makes sense if you were gonna go sacrifice a cat somewhere. That is like the perfect place to do it. It gave that vibe.
Yeah,
It's like vines on the walls. It was
or
like
I was imagining an old patient coming back to like and doing what they did to him to the cat or something.
Yeah, like the cat was just punished for our actions.
Yeah.
It was sketchy. We did not go back.
Oh, it's crazy.
It was very scary. And college, we were high.
Yeah.
We were there to smoke
It's scary
weed.
regardless. Finding
Yes.
a freshly pinned down cat.
Being 19 high as well just elevates that scariness.
That was the one when ghost stories were, not when ghost stories, when I was younger and we would tell ghost stories around the fire and stuff. The only one that ever like really got me was the stories that a guy lives near an insane asylum. And one night the power goes out and the alarm starts sounding that patients have escaped.
Ooh.
And so he finds his dog, and he's got his dog like licking his hand as he goes around with a torch looking for like, the breaker or whatever. And then as he's looking around, the dog's still looking his hand, he finds his dead dog.
Ooh.
The person licking his hand is obviously one of the escapees. Which is like,
So not only is it ghost, he's a freaky ass ghost.
well, not ghost, this is real insane asylum. This is like one of the crazy dudes. It's a ghost. All right, you're right. It's not literally a ghost story. It's just a scary story.
I thought he was a ghost and an escapee. Extra scary.
But obviously, if you put a little sauce on that story, you can really make it spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially to like a 9-year-old at a campfire.
That was the very quick version. I didn't feel like making you sit there as I was like, and then he went to the living room.
Not the living room. No, Pa, no. Campfire stories are classic. When was the last time you went camping?
A year ago.
Oh, nice.
Something like that. Yeah.
What was camping? Like, were
tent
you
in the woods?
Okay.
Yeah.
How far was your car?
Oh, very close. Very close by. Yeah.
Like,
it's not crazy.
like within sight?
Yeah. Yeah. This is like, yeah. One night it was cold. We slept in the car. It was a little too close.
Yeah, I mean, it's camping, but that's definitely like not what everyone would consider camping.
No, I agree. But also then you go to like do real camping. So hard.
It's so brutal.
That's what I wanted to do. And we hiked around with our backpacks for like 4 hours. And then we weren't even that far. I'm like, let's just go back.
Yeah.
Like what are we?
We're going to set up here and then do this again.
And there wasn't like a good spot. Campsites are an underrated
they're nice.
amenity.
Yeah.
Where they've cleared it out for you.
They're like, there's a bathroom there?
Oh, dude, there was, when we were camping, there was each campsite had a little cabinet, like a metal cabinet, that you could put your food in, and you would like close it so that the animals couldn't get to it or whatever. And I left ours ajar, and we spent 2 hours that night listening to something that sounded huge, rummage through our food thing, and I was sitting there freaking out because it's like I'm not gonna go out there and face it for the English muffins we have in there, but it was like I left it slightly ajar. It's like. And it's like at night, everything sounds ginormous. I'm sure it was a raccoon. But you couldn't see. It's pitch dark, and you just hear the tearing of
the metal box going back.
Of who makes the English muffins? What the fuck is the company? It's the English Muffin Company.
I have no idea, dude.
The
Aunt Jemima? No, it's
cinnamon raisin. Fuck.
I don't know.
Thomas? It's Thomas English? I think it's Thomas.
Thomas sounds right.
Yeah.
It looks right, rather.
Our Thomas English muffins. They never figured out the peanut butter or jelly jar. Thank God.
I mean, that would be impressive.
That would be
without
crazy.
breaking the jar.
Yeah, without breaking. You'd have to share. When you're not breaking a peanut butter jar that easy. You've got to really.
He like there's like clearly like a knife.
Yeah, like, spoon scoop.
Yeah. I mean, they probably wouldn't. I bet you their tongues are crazy. Well, I'm thinking of bear at this point.
Okay.
A raccoon. Yeah. Don't they have opposable thumbs, raccoons?
Yeah, raccoons have thumbs.
Can they? I'm sure if you trained a raccoon, it could open a jar.
Yeah, maybe.
Although
you need a little force.
Was it a new jar? Or had you broken the seal?
Who'd broken the seal?
Oh, pussy ass raccoon.
Well, they can't.
It wasn't that big then if it didn't break the glass jar.
Well, or it was just had its fill on all other food.
It was so big it couldn't even grab the jar.
We had a ton of English muffins in there, chips.
Were people
got a bunch of
in
stuff.
The campsite pissed that someone left the box open?
Well, we didn't tell them. We didn't
Well,
know.
they didn't notice the massacre.
There was this campsite was spread out enough. They weren't like, it wasn't like they were listening to the animal too. This was just us and whatever animal that was.
I was assuming it was like a mailbox setup, like a bunch of metal boxes.
Can we do what kind of animals are on like with like the Adirondacks, like Skyline Drive? What's Skyline Drive? What is that called? That little section. Which Google animals you find on the Adirondack Trail?
I'm sure there's a ton.
Big animals, because obviously raccoons, obviously bears.
Black bear, deer, moose, beaver, coyote, river coyote, bobcat, little broken bat, raccoon. Like there seems to be an endless.
I thought maybe like so lion, mountain lion wasn't an option.
Not in the top Google search.
Okay. All right. That's all I was wondering. So yeah, probably.
It was. I mean,
like if it was a bear, it was. Like it's possible as a bear. You really had no sense. You're just listening, and there were no grunts.
I was
silently
say,
eating.
If it wasn't grunting, it probably wasn't a bear. Like
you think so?
Yeah, bears make noise. You hear a bear when they're eating. They're like. A raccoon is definitely the most likely predator.
Maybe a raccoon. Or coyote. Could be a coyote.
Coyote, yeah, but
that's why they struggled with those jars.
They would have just ran away.
Maybe
grab and go. They probably wouldn't sit and chill.
But yeah, so laying there and just listening to that was
definitely
scary. Terrifying to do.
We were camping in our neighbor's backyard in Stamford, like right next door neighbors in Phil's backyard. It was very much not camping. We could touch our deck basically. And a deer, I woke up and I remember it was our neighbor Sarah, my brother Jack, and like a deer was just, I don't know, 20 feet from our tent. And I woke up in the middle of the morning. It was like 5 a.m. And I was like, guys, a deer. There's a deer right there. And they both were like, we don't give a shit. Like, go to sleep.
Yeah, that's not.
I was like, you know what? This is the same thing as like seeing a deer from our bedroom window.
Yeah, it's not super
But it
exciting.
did feel cooler because I was like, in the tent looking up and then I see a wild animal. I'm like,
you're like, this is camping.
This is it. We're here,
this
guys.
Is the real deal.
Wake up, guys. Yeah. We went camping. Were you on that trip when we did it in high school? And like,
no, I didn't go.
My buddy and I, we showed up like 3-4 hours after everyone because we had a birthday dinner essentially. And our friends did not find the campsite in that 3 or 4 hours, hiked for hours with coolers and tents, like up a hill. We found them literally. I mean, they'd been hiking for like 3 hours. It was pitch dark at the point that we found them, like 10 of them. My buddy and I driving, and they looked like the cast of Survivor after like 3 or 4 weeks. Like they like zombie mobbed my car. They were like, "Oh my god!" We were driving up a road for I thought we had gone the wrong way, and I was looking for a spot to turn around, and then I see like 10 people on the side of the road with like coolers and tents, and we ended up. So half of the group wanted to go home. The other half was like, "We made it this far." We just set up tents in like what wasn't trees, basically. We found like enough of a square that was, it was grassy and whatever. And it wasn't until the morning. Like we did have a good time. We set up tents quickly, had the campfire, chilled, got drunk for sure. We were like basically out of high school. And then in the morning we woke up and we were like 3 or 4 feet off of the main trail, like not too far from the parking lot, and people were like hiking because it was like a Saturday morning. We looked ridiculous, and I could only imagine what they were thinking. Like, who the fuck? Like, we were 4 tents set up like right there. We look like homeless people probably. And then of the 11 of us, 9 people got horrendous poison ivy, myself included. Like, we were basically sleeping in poison ivy.
Oh my god,
all of us. It was brutal.
How far of a drive was this?
It was in Kent, Connecticut.
Okay, so like an hour or two.
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah.
My boss at the time when I worked at a summer camp recommended the campsites at Kent, Connecticut, but like he just gave us like directions. We didn't look up anything. We just pulled up.
Yeah.
And my friends 3 hours before me, and they were like, they were just hiking basically. The camping grounds were not even on the same area. Like, they were a completely different part.
Yeah.
You had to like rent a square. Like it was.
Yes, exactly.
We were thinking like, let's just go camping.
Well, dude, that's what happened to us. That's weird. When you don't camp, that's your mentality. Like, you just go to the woods and you find a spot, and like that's so not it.
We just assumed campgrounds meant everywhere was campable.
Yeah. Well, like when we hiked for a little and then went back and found a camp spot, it was late at night, and so we just pitched our tent in a random empty one, and then had an insane hour, like 5:30 in the morning. Some ladies rattling our tent, being like, "You got to pay $7 for this lot," and I'm like, "We couldn't do that at 10 a.m. Like this is." It was an insanely cheap price, but it was like she was like so annoyed.
Did you just have to give her cash?
I had to like go to her booth. I don't remember, but also like she's shaking the tent. She's yelling. She's like 17. It was our campsite number. We had no idea because we had gotten there at midnight or something. She's just some random lady shaking our tent and yelling 17. Like,
that's us?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what's that? We're going by numbers again.
$7 is such a funny amount of money to be like upset about.
I know. It was definitely, I don't remember exactly, it was less than 10. And I was like, this could have waited until noon or whatever.
I mean, I guess a lot of people just try that shit though. So they have to be iron fisted with that $7 rate.
Yeah, there's so much on the line.
Camping is kind of brutal. Like it is so glamorous on TV and paper. And then you get there and you're like, this is tough. Like,
you know what I love the videos of the people that are on like the single person tent. It's like basically a little sleeping bag, and they wake up and it's like snowed over, and then they're just like on top of a mountain. It's like that moment, and then they pour themselves. Somehow they have hot coffee at this time. Like they pour themselves a hot coffee. Like that second seems worth it, but it seems like it's such an impossible task to get there.
I mean, if they're doing it on film, they're more than likely getting some juice up the way, you know, like maybe a helicopter ride halfway up, and then it's like, all right, hike the rest, spray on some sweat, and let's get.
Oh, you think so?
The angles.
What about the
like Bear Grylls?
Watch the Backyard Boys or the outdoor boys.
That guy,
the guy that just retired.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah,
because he's like filming it with his phone.
He's got some videos like that,
but he doesn't have a film crew.
No, but he's like, he set it up, and then he's like, wake up.
Yeah, but I think he clearly enjoys the grind of it all. Like it is worth it to him.
Yeah, totally. He's killing it.
But I think there's a lot of people online that do that like morning cup of coffee on the mountain. They're just like, love the view.
I'm just going to do it tomorrow morning. I'm just going to type in an AI prompt. So I'm going to look at that as I drink my coffee.
I've been sending you those those V3 AI videos. Have you seen them?
I've seen so many of them.
I mean, the past like 2 weeks, they've been all on my feed, and
yeah,
they already look so good. Like I feel like we're fucked. Like I'm not gonna be able to tell the difference in a couple years.
I think so. Like it's still obvious now.
Some of the ones I was watching, like at first I thought they were actors because I didn't know what V3 was, and now I mean, I guess I'm looking more for context of it versus, but they like the one I saw with the pilots was seamless. Like
what I noticed is they can only do, or as far as I can tell, they can only do like pretty short scenes.
Yeah,
like it doesn't last. The continuity, the person starts to change if it goes too long.
I feel like I had only, it was on TikTok, so I just thought it was a scene of a movie because they were pilots like passing a bong. I was like, what is this for? And then it kept doing more cutscenes, and I was like, is this I definitely have my senses on, but the first one or two I did not notice at all. I totally thought they were actors. And I mean, it almost seems like they're real people that they're modifying versus like AI,
I know what you mean. Yeah. I really love the ones. I've been getting fed a lot of the ones. It's of it's a dude, but it's the angle like he's a streamer, like what up, chat kind of thing. But he's behind Moses, who's part of the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're walking here, middle of the ocean. Check this out. Moses is on the side with his staff, and like they got the walls of water.
I almost sent you the George Washington one I saw. He was like, "What's up, guys? It's George Washington here. We're on the front line." I also saw ones with they were interviewing gorillas, and he's like, "I've been training my whole life." He's like, "100 men? Give me 150 men." And I mean, that's why I think this is relatively soon. We were formed before AI really took off, I want to say. And we haven't done shit.
Was already around.
It was just getting started.
It's pretty new, yeah.
If we're comparing our growth to AI's growth in the time,
beating us.
Smoking us.
Beating us right now, for now.
Maybe our next episode, we should just spend some money, AI it.
Should we incorporate AI into our podcast? Ask ChatGPT for 2 podcast topics to discuss.
Oh, man, that's going to be lame.
With who knows? Actually, yeah, ask it for podcast topics to discuss, but first let's guess what it's going to give us. Don't hit enter yet.
I won't.
I think there's going to be like aliens, pyramids, hot news topics, and those are my
Should I
guesses.
say be creative?
Yeah, those are my guesses.
Well,
Aliens.
if I say be creative, I feel like it'll be
the news one will go away. I bet aliens, and what did I say?
you said
Pyramids.
Pyramids.
I bet aliens, pyramids, and telepathy.
Give me 3 podcast topics to discuss. Be creative.
Those are my guesses.
I'm thinking it's gonna be like some like not political, but some like stance between 2 things. Like, should we do like is this ethical? Something like that, like an ethics POV.
But like, what are the topics is it for the word?
Like, it probably won't go too hard because it's gonna be safe. So like, should we eat meat? Something like that. Like, is veganism the right way? Maybe. You know what's funny is like we're just coming up with good topics.
We're doing the
we're AIing
right
ourselves.
Well, I'm just thinking of the most stereotypical podcast.
I do think aliens, something like that, will come up, just because that is like what I feel.
And
like
maybe
AI
something like deep state conspiracy might be on there.
Let's see. Sure. Here are 3 creative podcast topics that can spark unique conversations and engage a curious audience.
Nice.
Time Travelers Anonymous is the first one.
Oh,
So obvious.
yeah.
Each episode features a fictional support group meeting for time travelers stuck in different eras.
This is like a whole theme for our pod, not just topics.
We're changing the structure of our podcast.
We did that kind of.
Guests in character talk about their time periods, mishaps, and what they miss or love about their current timelines.
Dude, we did that with our news from 100 years ago.
We should bring it back.
Yeah.
Ungoogleable questions. Explore questions that Google can't answer, like what color is nostalgia, or can silence be copyrighted? Bring in guests. This guy thinks we got money and shit.
Bring in guests.
Chill out. And the last one is the Museum of Lost Things. Each episode displays a lost object or legendary, like Amelia Earhart's plane, the lost Library of Alexandria skulls, or a missing Banksy piece. You drive into its story, possible fate, and cultural impact, bending mystery and investigative stories.
Fuck, they're all good ideas.
They were kind of fire. Like, those are a little. I was hoping for more.
The second one was nonsense. Ungoogleable questions. What color is nostalgia? That's just not like.
I don't know what that means.
You want us to do an hour on that? On what color nostalgia is?
What color is nostalgia?
It's ungoogleable. You can't.
What is nostalgia?
Well, what color is it?
It doesn't have a single agreed upon color, but some shades strongly associated with the feeling. Sepia tones. What is nostalgia? Oh, I guess nostalgia is just like.
Oh, I miss GameCube.
That's like, what's the color of sadness?
That's what I mean. It's a nonsense question. That's like, you can't do a whole. Questions are not Googleable for a reason.
Yeah, because there's no real answer. It's an opinion-based question.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, dude, I was trying to figure out, speaking of ungoogleable questions, I was trying to figure out if on a per capita basis, who molests kids more, teachers or priests? I very quickly found the rate for priests. It was between 4 and 5%.
Because there's just so many less priests.
Well, it's just there's so many more studies and articles on it.
And just how many priests compared to teachers are there in the world?
Yeah, but you're not sampling everyone. You're taking a subsample and making a guesstimate from that.
You're deflecting.
Well, no, this is just how they didn't survey every single priest, but that was the number that had been accused, not even verified accused, and I found that very easily. I really couldn't find it for teachers. It took me
like the average rate.
Yeah, the percentage of accusations, like
because I just don't think it's that common
for teachers.
I mean,
I think it's very common.
I think. Well, how could you couldn't find a rate then?
I don't know. It's just not as hot a topic, I suppose. That's what I'm saying. It's an ungoogleable question.
Well, I think it's it's
common enough.
When it happens, it's a hot topic.
Have you ever met someone that doesn't have a story along those lines from when they were in high school / middle school, either to them or someone they know?
I guess
everyone does.
Some teacher that was like a little creepy or something.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like enough where it's like, I should be able to find this number.
Fair.
But
That's fair.
So that's an ungoogleable question.
I guess it was tough for us because the priests, they were teachers too. They were
Yeah,
playing
oh my
both
gosh,
games.
this
Those
is
sons
double.
of bitches.
That's true. So we know for sure there's Catholic schools, the rate is the same. It's 4.4
I never
across
thought of
the
it
board.
like that. You're
That's
double
so
dipping
funny.
those sons
Yeah.
of bitches. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, we did have some creepy priests in our
What did the priest teach at your school? Like just religion?
just
or-
religion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess you went to a more.
Yeah, I had the priest for teaching everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Your gym teacher was a priest?
Not everything. But my geometry teacher was. And like I would fall asleep in his class. He was crazy. If you fell asleep in his class, he was so old. He would just lift your head up by the hair and drop you. And either you woke up from being lifted by the hair or you slammed your head on the table.
Did you learn the math that you hit?
Well, it is beat
I
into me.
understand now.
He had one of those voices. I wish I'd recorded it because it just made you want to pass out. Like I would fight it but every class I would doze off. And
really?
And he would always come. My head never hit the table. But
That's pretty good. So you weren't that asleep.
No, because I was just like the head nod. Like, oh, like. I was this like 80-year-old, and then he died 4 months after I graduated.
Damn.
Yeah.
He really just wanted to get you through high school.
He was hanging on for me. Shout out, Brother Adams.
Like his head will hit the table one of these days. High school teachers definitely do get a tough shtick because guaranteed there's going to be some troublemakers. Like, I feel like in college, professors didn't, like, if you were a troublemaker, you just didn't go to class. They didn't care.
Yeah, and they don't care.
No. And, like, high school, you kind of don't have a choice. Like, my high school was too small. If you weren't there, someone would be like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's because high school teachers, they're half teaching, half babysitting.
Yeah.
Whereas college, they're just teaching. They don't care.
There's, like, no, like,
yeah.
commitment to making sure you're doing your studies. They just essentially give you, because you're paying them.
Yeah.
Everyone in...
That's their attitude. They're like, you're paying. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
I do remember those first, like, couple weeks of college where I was like, I'm allowed to be on my phone in class. Like, the heck? And that was definitely a good call, taking phone privileges. But I knew, like, as soon as they started incorporating, like, iPads and any digital form of book, we were all just texting each other immediately or messaging.
In high school still?
Yeah, because that was, like, the very tail end of our high school. We got, like, an iPad, like, maybe our junior or senior year for, like, one class. We all had to use iPads or something. And I knew they were looking to implement that further because it was probably just cheaper than textbooks every year. And I mean, immediately we abused it. Like, immediately. I can't imagine that got better as they gave out more iPad privileges.
No, definitely.
And
I'm sure kids are taking that class just for the iPad.
Yeah.
They're like, I get an iPad for a year for free?
I mean, our high school doesn't exist anymore, but I imagine, like, most private high schools are using, like, your computer almost exclusively.
Yeah. Well, dude, I took physics my senior year because you got an iPad for the year.
I think we did something similar.
Yeah. And so I was like, of course I'm going to take this class. But anyway, so I hook it up, and I guess I still was using my mom's Apple ID at this point. And so was my sister, who for sure doesn't watch this podcast, so I'm going to tell the story. And it was so long ago.
Could be any of your sisters.
Yeah, it could be any of my sisters. But anyway, so then I'm like using the iPad, I'm all hooked up, and I've got it so like I can text people and stuff. But Apple IDs, I don't know if you remember, were strangely interconnected back then. It was weird. And then one day I'm sitting in school, and I get text from a number asking me to show my boobs and like asking me for nudes. And I can only see their text to me. But based on the text, I'm not, I'm toying with the idea. Just like based on the text I'm getting from this guy.
Is he like, come on, baby?
Yeah, like it's not like, oh, sorry, I asked that. It was more very coy stuff that it was so funny just getting his responses and like figuring out. He's soliciting nudes from my sister. And so now at 16 or 18, I guess, I was senior year, I had to go to my sister and be like, hey, you fucking...
Mom's on this thing too.
I've been reading his text. Don't give this guy nudes. Like
you can do better. Yeah, definitely a lot of families got in trouble for iMessage. I remember like we were on the iCloud connection like for one day, and then I had taken a picture of like us smoking a joint in the woods, and all of a sudden I saw it on the iCloud on the family computer, and I was like, remove this system forever.
It seems better now, but at the time it was just like
it was just like sending to your mom,
and
it would like change FaceTimes. You'd FaceTime someone, and you like get their mom.
Yeah, and their FaceTime would be an email coming through, something weird. Yeah, no, that was crazy. But no, my high school, you had to have a laptop to attend, and so you starting as freshman year, you were laptops. And yeah, it was, for sure. We wore blazers.
And it needs 128 gigabytes. And
there were specs and stuff. That's why, because some people were like, can I use my iPad? And at the time, iPads weren't up to snuff. And they were like, no, we'll give you the iPads. But like, if we had this one teacher who was in a wheelchair, and so she couldn't patrol the aisles or look at screens.
At least
And
not that
so-
quickly.
No, like it wasn't wide enough.
Oh.
She literally could not. People would have to part like the Red Sea for her to go down if she wanted to go to the back of the classroom.
So that was never happening.
Never happening. And it wasn't like a normal wheelchair. She was also old and frail. It was an electric one. So it's like double. She couldn't like be up there like pushing them, you know. And so kids would just different kids. We would all play the song "Happy" by Pharrell, full volume on our laptops, and it would just switch around the room. And she'd be at the front. She had so resigned to this after years. She's up the front. She taught calc, and she's like, "Stop!" Like it's just.
She just never. What made you guys stop? Anything?
No, we didn't. She could do nothing. She, which is unfortunate, and obviously this was so disrespectful. But
Yeah.
like it was. What do you put 30 16-year-old boys in a room with one woman who can't look at the screen to see who's
Past the
doing it?
first four, you just got to get those guys on board.
Fuck, there's so many. Now I'm thinking of so many high school stories. Our Latin teacher, we did that same thing to her. She could come back, but she was slow, so she never caught us. And one day she got so frustrated, she started doing push-ups at the front of the class.
I'd be scared.
Yeah, dude, that was like, oh, everyone stopped. We're like, oh, we might have broken her. She's maybe gone.
Guys, I think we should stop playing the song.
To do push-ups at the front of the class.
One of our Spanish teachers was yelling at someone, and she was like kicking him out of the room, like pointing him out, and the door shut, and it cut her finger off. Literally on ice, half her finger.
Like, how many knuckles down?
I mean, I don't recall exactly, but it was like a good.
But it was more than just like a snip of the tip.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like probably about half the finger.
That's
Terrifying.
in the door. Wait, who was closing the door? What do you mean?
The door was shutting, and she was like basically kicking him out and like yelling at him, and then the door basically, like the end of the door just shut on her. It was
Well,
one
like,
of the-
was he like yanking it behind him? Like,
I think he was like
Okay.
shutting it behind him, and she was like, "Get out of this classroom," because they were doors that would shut automatically, but it obviously had.
yeah.
But I don't remember if like she obviously didn't do it. Yeah, so he must have shut it.
Damn. So you went to high school with someone that's chopped off someone's finger.
I didn't get in too much trouble for it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our high school was pretty chill. We had a couple kids that were crazy. Like my buddy Steve definitely got into a bit of scrummupins, and at one point he was pretty rebellious. He ripped his braces out in
Oh
gym
my
class
God, dude.
with pliers.
That's a kid. You don't fuck with that.
it
Even
was
as an
pretty
adult, I
hardcore.
wouldn't fuck with that kid.
Yeah.
Ripping out his own braces.
I mean, clearly he was just trying to, get, I don't know, but
yeah, what? What is worth
attention.
ripping out your own braces? That's hard to do, and your teeth are ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was just taking them off, so there was
It's
a
not
purpose.
just. It's like a. Like you have to really tug on each one
Yeah.
to get it out.
Definitely not the brightest. My other friend, I remember he just asked me. I was so naive. I think this might have been in middle school to like help him empty a highlighter, like just to get the tube part, like take the marker out basically. And I was like asking my dad for help because I brought it home. And my dad literally asked me. He was like, "What does your friend need this for?" He's like, "Is he smoking out of this?" And I was like, I was like, "Dad, are you kidding me? Of course not."
Dad.
A couple years later, of course he was smoking out of
Yeah.
it. But I was like, "Wait, Frank, that thing I gave you." He was like, "Yeah, I was using that to make a bong." I was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." But I definitely made my fair share of like water
That's
bottle
what I was
bongs.
gonna say. That was fun being 15, 16, where you had to make your own weed stuff.
Yeah,
Even
definitely
into
got
college, I was
crafty.
doing that.
And like looking back at it, what I would do is I would take like a plastic water bottle, cut the bottom, get like a pen, hollow out that pen, stick it in the bottom so it was like almost like a hookah. Like it was a water bottle with just the pen sticking out, and then I would put tin foil in the top,
Yeah, with the tiny.
little holes, but I wouldn't put water in it, like because it wasn't like the weed, like the bowl was what I was hitting out of the straw was like I was basically just smoking through the
Oh,
plastic.
yeah, you just made a pipe.
Yeah,
like a regular
exactly.
pipe.
It was
a
like
strangely
the
shaped
filter
one.
was going through a plastic water bottle and
Yeah.
then through a plastic pen.
Uh-huh.
Like there was no purpose, but it made sense in my head.
Yeah, I mean, like it works.
Well,
I
it was
guess.
just the first thing that we did when we did it, and I was like, "This is the only way we can smoke weed out of a water
Yeah.
bottle." Like,
Well, normally you would like fill the water bottle with water and just like let the hole go.
Yeah.
And then it would suck it in. Not that that's better.
but then you would,
plastic-wise.
and like you would smoke out of the top. I
Yeah.
never did that.
And smoke on
I was
the
putting
top.
tinfoil on the top and like just smoking it like out of the bottom of it.
Uh-huh.
I never smoked out of a Coke can or anything like that. I know that was a
Oh, I
common
did
way
that. First time I smoked
in like
out of
Mexico, right?
Mexico on a
Party bus.
party bus that was a school bus repurposed.
I mean, that's looking back, those are the best party buses.
It was sweet.
Yeah,
But it was wild to be on the highway going 75 and everyone's like
kilometers.
looking back, it was nuts.
We smoked weed on the way back from one of our tennis games on the bus, and the coach, because like we would just make a bunch of ruckus in the back of the bus, but no one ever did anything as crazy enough to actually smoke weed. Like the coach was on the front of the bus, and we had all the windows open, and it was actually a pipe that I had that was like, it was supposed to be a vaporizer. I might still have it somewhere in my house. You might even remember it. And like, basically the concept was that you would put the weed in like the bottom chamber, and then it had like a really big like black bowl part on top, and the lighter would go through that, and it would not smoke the weed. It would vaporize it. Like it would cool the lighter enough to make it vapor and not smoke. Definitely had flaws, because if like the lighter got too close, you were just straight up smoking weed. And they hit that on the bus. And I mean, I remember him like coughing and like smoke coming. It went through the window, but the coach immediately was like, that better not be what I think it is. And he just did not say anything. We totally got off scot-free. He just didn't want to go through the fucking trouble.
Yeah, he's like, this is a lot of work.
Way too much
And you're
work.
a tennis coach. You're like, I don't really care.
He was our computer teacher who got paid a little extra. He didn't even own a tennis racket. I'm not kidding. He didn't do a single bit of coaching. He would just tell us who to practice with and then ask the scores of the games. I think I've told you this. I walked off after getting my ass kicked 6-0, 6-0. And he goes, Farrell, how was it? I said, 6-0, 6-0. He goes, not bad. And like, I was like, that is literally the definition of bad. Like,
could not be worse.
What is bad? Please
that is the worst it could possibly have
not
gone.
Bad.
That is so funny.
Yeah. We started calling him by his first name for the second half of the season. He didn't even care.
Yeah. Well, dude, these teachers, if they like coach and stuff, if you just teach at the same place long enough, you make a ton of money. Because it's a set increase.
Yeah.
Like my mother has a janitor she's a principal of a school, and she has a janitor. I shit you not, this janitor makes close to $200,000 a year.
Wow.
Because he has been there for 40 years and has just had this stock, 3% increase every year. But because it's like a school, it's got a board and all this stuff, my mom's like trying to fire him because she's like, we can get a janitor for a normal price. And like, because she'll hire new teachers and they're making $35,000 a year.
Yeah.
And she's like, I would love to pay the teachers more, but this janitor is living large.
Soaking up the budget.
And according to my mother, a shit janitor. Like, doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, fuck, I would totally be a janitor for $200,000 a year.
I mean, especially at like a high school.
Yeah, and a bad janitor? I'd be a bad janitor for $100,000 a year.
But you got to do 40 years of janitoring to get there. That's the trade-off.
That's true. He did put in his time.
Yeah, seriously, like that's a lot of time to be committed to janitoring.
It is. I still don't think it's worth $200,000.
No,
but it is. Yeah, that's a lot of janitoring.
So teachers just get a salary bump every year, no matter what.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. Yeah, something like that. Well, don't you get? Isn't like cost of living increases?
Sure.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's like a universal. I guess
it's a popular system at schools.
Cost of living increases is a fair request, but
yeah,
I don't think you're like guaranteed a raise every year.
Okay.
Although it is
track inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought up inflation at my one-on-one with my boss, and she was like, "Fucking inflation, like,
man. Otherwise, you technically take a pay cut every year."
She was saying how she was making less than me at my age, and I was like, "Yeah, but you know."
And she's like, "We can't have you passing me." She's literally like, "I got to keep you down. This is if you think I'm gonna let you do better than me."
Maybe she was just saying like, "So when you're my age, you can be," but yeah.
But yeah, it's like you should get
inflation
2 to 4% more every year. At least.
But then what's the average raise? Like 3%? And that is just to fight inflation? So I'm not even getting a raise. I'm getting...
Yeah, you're getting the same amount of money in terms of purchasing power, if it's that.
Damn
depends,
you.
Inflation changes. So, like, if inflation was only 2% that year overall, you are getting a raise. But more likely, it was more like 4%.
So we're just
taking less.
We're just gambling on inflation on my life.
Totally. Well, then also inflation is like it only is for certain things. So it's like if you planned on purchasing used cars, then you got a pay cut. But if you don't purchase used cars and you purchase TVs, well, then you have a pay raise. It's very like it's
nice. So it's less of a raise. It's more of a mindset.
Yeah. If you're buying the right things, it's a huge
Everything's
raise.
a raise.
Yeah. That is, but yeah, TVs are like the one thing where they've gotten way better and way cheaper over time. Not the one
proof.
thing, but
well, I mean,
deflation. They've had deflation.
I think inflation proof. I feel like they just got lighter because old TVs used to be so heavy and so many materials, and then just like probably shipping everything was just
a nightmare.
Extra cost. Now they're like paper thin.
Had to be installed,
but phones have gotten smaller and lighter and are more expensive.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because they're so small. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like phones are like the one thing we don't make in America, like that we like can't even make.
Well, and like t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like we do make some t-shirts in America, but
do we?
Yeah. I mean, like I've made a t-shirt.
Well, I don't mean like dye it, like tie dyeing.
Sure, but there's like some American-made t-shirt companies.
Maybe I don't know.
Is Gap making this shit in America?
It's definitely not the Gap. No, the Gap that's China for sure.
There's got to be some American made. Like if I just Google it, I guarantee you some.
I'm sure there's one or two, and each shirt is like $90.
Cell phone companies. I think there's one. It's like America cell phone or something, but otherwise it's like all of them are made.
And I'm sure that cell phone is like $6,000.
It's so expensive,
crazy,
and like you definitely get shit service. I mean, maybe in America you get good service, but probably not because like T-Mobile and all those other cell towers are 100% owned overseas.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're owned by the other countries, bro.
Totally.
We got to start. Did you? Oh my gosh, I was gonna bring this up. Elon and Donald are.
I saw it, dude. That's crazy.
They're beefing so hard.
Hang on, because he tweeted.
When was the last time you checked their tweets? Like how many?
A few hours ago.
Okay,
like it was like Elon was like the reason the Epstein files haven't been released is because Donald Trump's on them. I thought we already knew that. I'd already heard Donald Trump is on the Epstein list.
Yeah, but it was like they never came out, so it was never proven.
Oh, okay. I just was like,
he's never been named. I don't believe.
I thought he had been. Okay.
There's just so many pictures of him and everything.
I was like, yeah.
But they're going like full, no holds back, like guns a-blazing.
That is crazy.
It's so dramatic. They were like best friends a week ago.
I know.
Could you imagine like if we were just like Eddie fucks little boys and that would be insane. Like,
and it's like if you're a diehard Republican person, who do you pick?
Right?
Because they're two icons.
Nah, I mean you got to go with the Don.
You think so?
I think like
some
they've
people
been
are big on Elon.
Yeah, but like anyone that was a super Trump guy probably was like Team Elon because he joined the party, but it's not like anyone was a super big Elon fan currently and also not the Trump guy. Like I can't imagine that there were strictly Elon fans that hated Trump that were going to pick Trump either way, you know?
Yeah.
Like you either loved Elon and Trump or you love Elon and hate Trump. So really, it means nothing for the Elon fans.
I saw a tweet under Elon's tweet that was just where he was like,
a tweet under his tweet.
Or it was like Elon's like, the reason the Epstein files haven't been released is because Donald Trump is on them. One of the top tweets is like, man, I gotta try ketamine. It was so funny.
I mean, it's just nuts to go this publicly angry at each other.
It is
after being so publicly like buddy.
Yeah, I know.
They were like making out in the Oval Office
like
basically.
A month ago, Elon worked there. Whatever, the Doge.
Yeah, and I remembered hearing like a week or so ago that Trump was quoted saying like, was this Doge thing all just bullshit or a bunch of like a waste of time?
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, I wonder if this is gonna, because I remember people telling me like they're not gonna be friends for long. I was like, I don't really know, but I can't imagine after being this publicly together they would go this dramatic, and they have totally proven me wrong.
I know. They can't have too big.
I mean, I'm excited after this episode to check their most recent tweets. They were firing them off like, well, what's annoying is I have to go to Truth Social to see Trump, and then I got to go to X. They both own their own platform.
I know. That's so annoying.
That's actually hilarious. It's a battle of the platforms.
Yeah.
And I mean, Elon's credited with giving a lot of people the Trump vote.
Yeah, no, for sure. He
Like
was helpful.
buying Twitter was definitely a political move.
Yeah.
Wonder if he regrets it. I don't know.
I bet that he hates Kamala even now more than he hates Trump.
You think so?
I think so.
Do you think he'll ever flip flop back to being Team Trump?
No,
At this point, it wouldn't
there's no
surprise
point.
me.
Like, because Trump can't be elected again. It's kind of like whatever. Who cares at this point?
There's a couple more years of damage he could do to him.
Yeah, I guess so.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, I was on ketamine. That would surprise me if he admitted to that. I smoked weed with Joe Rogan and I thought crazy things.
What are we at here?
45 minutes. We could do jokes.
Yeah,
Look at a shorty.
Let's do jokes. It's a little short one.
I was actually, before we get to jokes, after I finish this ice.
Oh, yeah. You know how great that is for crunching ice into the microphone.
The nice mics. I was looking at our episodes today, and they are very similar timed, all of them. Like, we don't have anyone in like the 35. I honestly don't even think we have any in the 40s. We'll get this one up to 50s.
With the jokes, we'll get to 50s.
Yeah, and then I'll do a really long intro.
There you go. And it's like 50. I've seen it's like 52 to an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like something like.
But there's
that.
like 30 episodes that are all in that little tight window. So
we'll keep it. We're right on, man.
Yeah, dude. We're used to this shit.
Soon.
If we get the audio down, we're fucking cooking.
Dude, the episodes where the audio was good it's way more views every time.
What you're talking about with the TV makes sense, where you guys are just listening to us,
yeah,
and not turning it off because the audio isn't shit.
Yes. Whereas if they listen to a high quality video and then it switches to us and it's like sounds like the Subway guy, they're like, fuck off.
It also is such a relief to note that our content means nothing. It's strictly the quality of our voice.
The nicer the audio.
We don't have to say anything of value. It's like just sound good, and we
got even more expensive mics.
It's funny when your like metric is didn't turn me off. Like not even listener. It's like didn't shut me to something else.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Don't turn us off.
Don't turn us off.
Although we're saying this way too late at the end of the episode. We're like, don't. Let's stay or stick around for these 5 jokes.
Imagine, someone's like about to turn us off with 4 minutes left, and he's like, "Don't turn." Okay, fine. I made it this far.
Oh, dude, I've had to stop listening. I listen to so much Norm Macdonald because I just love him so much, and especially like the special he did when I don't know if you saw, right before he died during COVID, he released a Netflix special where it's just him.
I think I saw it.
It's in like a podcast setup because it's COVID. And it blows
because it was just
like in his basement.
Yeah,
and it doesn't quite work like that. But there's bootleg versions of people that recorded on their voice memos. Then they've all been posting them to YouTube, and so I would listen to them all the time because it's so good. It's all like 2-hour sets.
They're better the bootleg versions.
Yeah, the audio blows, but like you hear everything, and it's like you get to hear the audience react and stuff. So much better. But I had 2 days in a row where people were like. I got off stage and they're like, "So you like Norm Macdonald, do ya?" And I'm like, "No, I'm morphing into him."
It's a compliment, but it's also like I don't want to be.
I can't be
all Norm.
Yeah, I can't sound like I'm just doing an imitation. Yeah. So I've had to stop, which is such a bummer because I would listen to it constantly.
It's like a drug, bro. You got to kick it.
I know. I got to listen to I got to listen to like Amy Schumer for a while. Something to
polar
shake
opposite,
it off.
just total to like opposite. Get that mid ground.
Yeah. Chris Rock. I don't know what the polar opposite
that
is.
would be quite the compliment. You come off stage, so you like Chris
Rock. Because I've used the N-word so many times. Or I'm just doing white versions of his joke. You've got white people, and then you've got crackers.
I went to see the Sinners movie. Have you seen that?
I saw it. Yeah.
It was good.
It's good.
There was a very lovely but larger black woman sitting next to us who she kept like outbursting, being like, "Period!" Like for random
period.
Shit. Yeah, because like whenever there was like a kind of like a get at the leprechaun, the whites. Okay. Be like, "We're not letting you white folk in here."
Oh, like period.
She'd be like, "Period." Like,
I see. I got. My mind
whenever she would say something, she'd be like, "I'm so sorry." I'm so sorry. But you could tell she was just like she couldn't control her like. Yeah, it's just like sass. She'd be like, "Sorry." I was like, "It's fine."
Right. White people are vampires.
She was really nice about it, so I was honestly, because I mean, I hate when people are annoying in a movie, like when they just like shut up. Like if you're gonna be talking during like, because I have definitely been tempted to ask my friend a question, but when people like try to make it like even at a comedy show when someone yells back, it's like this is only for you. Like no one else wants to.
No
hear
one else
you.
is like, I like that.
Yeah, and like when I can't actually hear the movie, I'm like, now I just want to watch this at home. But at least she was being apologetic about it, and she wasn't like being that crazy. She was just like, yeah. I was like, all right, fucking fuck these vampires.
Yeah,
but good movie.
No, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I do like how the Asian lady just fucked everyone. She's like, come on in, you motherfucker.
Yeah, because like
I get
clearly
it.
they were all gonna just die when
like,
the sun came out.
Yes, exactly. And your husband is long gone.
Yeah.
Give up. What are you saying?
Well, she was concerned about her daughter.
Where was her daughter?
That's what
they said they were
going to
go
go
get
because
her.
he had all the memories. So that's what she was thinking.
I see.
Well, so I kind of got her mentality.
Yeah, but you know,
because especially like if it was, I mean, I'm not speaking for my mom, but if she had the choice of dying and saving my brother and I, and like her dying with, I mean, it is flawed because now they're just going to go kill your daughter together.
And now she's going to go kill her own daughter.
But maybe she gets a chance to slow him down. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
She wasn't thinking rational.
Yeah.
They were drunk. It did.
Just and also it's a lame movie if she's like, you know what, my daughter's gonna die anyway.
let's just hold out the night.
They just play cards till 6 a.m.
Smokestack is a great twin brother's name.
It is.
Smokestack Twins is like that's great.
It took me embarrassingly long to realize they both were Michael B. Jordan.
Really?
I was sitting there.
I'm like, wow, they casted the shit out of these.
Yeah, I'm like, one of them has a gold tooth. Obviously, different people. Like I was like 40 minutes in. I'm like,
I'm usually not a big fan of the dual character played by one person, but like Mary-Kate and Olsen twins are the exception where they are perfect twins. So they set the standard. If you're gonna do twins, I did think he did a decent job.
No, it was good. It was good. Like
I
said, I didn't notice.
Yeah,
it was until halfway through. I'm like,
I wonder if that's like. I mean, it's actually so impressive how you can do that without even like I mean, that was a perfectly filmed movie. Like there was no moment where they were, overlapping or anything. And like obviously they had to be filmed at different times.
Yeah, no, it was.
It's pretty impressive.
It was cool. Although it was horny. They kept on being like, they talked about cunnilingus constantly.
When you had your thumb halfway up my cootie hole.
Or he's talking to a 16-year-old and he's like, you gotta lick the pussy like a cone of ice cream or something like that. I'm like, this is not moving the story along. This is just horniness.
It was random when also Haley, when she says, she's like, you said you loved me when you had your tongue halfway up my booty hole.
Yeah, I was like, this is not key.
That got a reaction from our girlfriend over here. She was like, oh,
period.
Period. On her period. Damn, it's hot in here, dude.
It is.
It's like, I mean, it was like 90 degrees today in the city.
I was sweating.
I biked home shirtless. Gave the city a little view.
Nice.
I'm fat, dude. I gotta start running again.
I know you only have negative 1 week until summer. I think it is summer now. Yeah.
I'll just sweat it out in the next 2 weeks in my apartment living.
There you go. The water weight part of it. Shall we do these?
Yeah.
Mix these up a little.
Well, I saw him write 2 with his left hand and 2 with his right hand. Oh, no.
All right. I have 3, so I'll go first.
Yeah.
There are wars happening right now in Israel, Ukraine, and Syria. The Peace Corps is doing a terrible job.
There are a lot of wars happening.
They do not have a control on the situation.
Clearly, things have gotten out of hand.
It is funny. I was thinking about the Peace Corps the other day.
They're just the War Corps.
And they're going to wars, and they're like giving people water, so they're just gonna fight more. Now they're hydrated.
Here, get out there and keep fighting.
I was like, what would slow them down if they were thirsty?
A little less water.
Yeah.
You gotta put the water in a strategic location.
Yeah, put it further away from each other. They have to go.
We just defeated the Peace Corps. Yesterday, I watched a documentary on child sex trafficking. Oof! I thought regular traffic was bad. I don't like that
put
joke.
Things in perspective.
Bad.
Regular traffic is not the worst kind of traffic you could be subjective to.
Yeah, you're in traffic. Someone's yelling. You're like, the traffic could be way worse.
Regular traffic, you're maybe like 20 minutes late to your meeting.
Stop right there.
Sex traffic, you're 18 years late. You may never make it.
And demonetized by YouTube. We're actually gonna get negatively monetized for this.
My biggest pet peeve about those fancy steakhouses is that I keep ordering my rare steaks and they keep bringing me common steak.
You wanted a rare
I wanted a rare steak. Then they'll ask me if I want it well done, and I'm like, of course, don't do a shitty job.
Oh fuck, that's one of the quips.
Yeah, you could have.
I have no clue which one. Ooh, good toss. Whoever invented the word glory hole really should reconsider the name, because from personal experience, it is much more glorious to have sex with someone that isn't a wall.
Yeah, not a lot of glory in the glory hole.
It's actually pretty shameful.
Shame
the shame
hole.
hole.
Should be the shame hole. I called the suicide hotline yesterday, and I don't buy it. None of those guys seemed even a little depressed.
Really hot topics with some of your...
Yeah, they were all...
sex traffic and suicide.
They were kind, honestly. Very concerned about me, what floor I was on. Very...
Where exactly I was located.
All right, that's the Moose Lounge.
That's the Moose Lounge. Did we say some smooth rhymes?
And good times.
Here at the Moose Lounge. I'm not sure if we did. Oh, well. Bye.